If you've been scrolling through endless lists of subwoofers, watching the same big bass promises and still can't decide which one actually fits your ride, this review is going to clear that up. I've been digging into the forums, reading the spec sheets, and watching a ton of installation videos, so by the time we get through this you should have a solid feel for whether the Rockford Fosgate T1D215 is the right choice for your car audio build. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why the decision feels so heavy. When you walk into a shop and see a 15-inch sub, you automatically think more size equals louder bass. But size is only one piece of the puzzle. The T1D215 is a dual 2-ohm subwoofer, meaning it can be wired in series or parallel depending on your amp's load requirements. That flexibility is a big deal for people who already have an amp in mind or who are trying to squeeze the most out of a limited power budget. The downside? That same flexibility can become confusing if you're new to car audio wiring. Miswiring can lead to underperformance or even damage the sub. Now, I'll walk you through the most common real-world scenarios where people install a sub like this and what they end up caring about the most. If you're a daily driver who just wants a little extra thump for your favorite playlists, you'll notice the T1D215's vast, vented acoustic suspension technology, designed the moment you drive past a street corner speaker test. The vented cone area is larger than a typical sealed design, allowing the cone to move more air without needing a massive amp. In practice, that means you can get a respectable boom at around 70-80 watts RMS, which is perfect for a modest 300-watt amp that many budget builds already have. I've seen owners who pair this sub with a 600-watt Class D amp and get a rich, punchy bass that fills a mid-size sedan without overwhelming the rest of the soundstage. The bass hits are tight, and because the sub's mounting depth is only 8.4 inches, it fits comfortably in a standard trunk or even a shallow SUV cargo area. For the weekend warrior who takes the car to a meetup and wants the kind of rumble that makes heads turn, the T1D215 can still deliver, but there are trade-offs you should be aware of. Because it's a dual 2-ohm unit, you have the option to wire the two voice coils in parallel for a 1-ohm load, which lets a powerful amp push more current through the sub. That setup can produce the jaw-dropping lows you hear at car shows, especially when the amp is cranked past its RMS rating. However, you'll need a robust power supply and proper gauge wiring to avoid overheating. In short, the sub can play loud, but you have to respect the electrical demands, otherwise you'll end up with a sub that sounds great 1 minute and goes dead silent the next. Who should buy this? If you already own or plan to buy an amp that can handle a 1-ohm load, and you have the space for a 15-inch package, the T1D215 is a solid match. Its price point sits in the mid-range, so you're not paying premium for a brand name alone, you're paying for the specific dual-coil flexibility and the vast vented cone technology that gives you more output per watt. It also appeals to those who appreciate Rockford Fosgate's track record of durable construction. This unit comes with a 1-year warranty, which is reassuring for a component that will see a lot of vibration. Who should skip it? If you're building a sealed box system for a very compact vehicle, or you're looking for a plug-and-play sub that works with just any amp without worrying about load calculations, there are better options out there. Sealed box subs often have tighter, more controlled bass, which some audiophiles prefer for music that isn't heavily bass-driven. Also, if you're on a tight budget and plan to use a low-output amp, a smaller 12-inch model might give you enough bass without the added cost and installation complexity of a 15-inch unit. Let's get into the practical strengths that show up after you've installed the T1D215. The first thing many owners notice is how the sub's vented design reduces distortion at higher volumes. When you crank the volume for a bass-heavy track like a modern hip-hop mix, the sub stays clean up to about 4 kHz, which is surprising for a 15-inch driver that's typically known for booming low frequencies. This is especially useful if you like to listen to a range of music, from EDM to classic rock, because the sub doesn't dominate the mids and highs the way a poorly tuned sub can. Another strength is the mounting flexibility. The 8.4-inch depth means you can fit the sub into a variety of enclosures, sealed, ported, or even a vented box you build yourself. I've seen a DIY builder install the T1D215 in a ported box with a 28-liter volume and get solid low-end response that fills a full-size SUV without needing a